Here's Director Melissa Lampert, and I'm here today with Lena Smyth. She is the wife of Mayor Cameron Smyth, and we're going to be doing a sit-down interview here. So thank you so much for joining us today, Lena. It's so nice to have you.
Sure, nice to be here.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about yourself and your family.
Sure, so Cameron and I have 3 kids. We have a 13-year-old son in 7th grade, and then we have a 10-year-old son in 5th grade and a 6-year-old daughter in 1st grade. And I also teach political science at College of the Canyons, and we've been married since '99 and live in Newhall.
And did you always know that your husband planned to go into politics, or was that an unexpected opportunity? How did that happen?
Cameron has been involved in politics since we met, so it was no surprise. So when we first met, he was working for a state assemblyman who was running for state senate and was working on that campaign. And I always knew that that was part of what he wanted to do in the future. So no surprise, he went on to do that and serve at the city council, and then go and serve in the legislature, and now back on the city council as mayor.
And are there any unique challenges that come with being in the political spotlight for you personally and for your family as well?
I think, the one thing that, and I think it is unique to right now, like I sort of said before, Cameron has been in elected office since, I should remember the year, but since he first served as mayor, I think it was 2000. And so during that time, the biggest thing I feel like that has changed is social media.
Yes.
Because you're really open to a lot of good and bad in social media. And so I think that's sort of a challenge, just being in the spotlight a little bit for him, not really for me. I mean, I'm his wife, I'm there to support him, but I'm not the one really making those decisions. But I'm happy to be kind of helping him at home and supporting him and talking him through, but he's ultimately the one who's making the decisions, and so he's ultimately the one that faces the praise or the criticism. And I think with social media, you can have a very vocal minority that makes a lot of noise and can really make things difficult. I mean, it is what it is. That's kind of what the job entails. You know what you're getting into. But I think it's hard for anyone to face a lot of criticism. And so I feel like for me, my job is to sort of be there to support, and you're doing the right thing, and stand by your decision. And because I've also noticed that a lot of times people don't necessarily praise as much on social media as they do criticize. So I think you're inevitably going to get a lot of criticism. And so I feel like that's an important part of my job as his wife, is to kind of keep things in perspective.
So what's your favorite part of being in the role as First Lady of the Santa Clarita Valley?
Well, I don't even know. I kind of shy away from even saying that it's really a role. I mean, I feel like I'm Cameron's wife. I'm happy that he has decided to serve, that he is doing this again. I like that for us, that we're a young family and that we're representative of most people in Santa Clarita, and that we can kind of reflect the views. I mean, most of our days are spent with our kids running around to activities and to the parks and different sorts of activities and programs, and shuttling back and forth. And I'm on the PTA. I'm a treasurer of the PTA at school. And so I feel like we're so much like many of the families in Santa Clarita. And so I really feel fortunate that we get to represent them and kind of make sure that their views are heard at City Hall.
And you already touched on this a little bit, but what is the single toughest part of being, the wife of the mayor, or the role as First Lady, however you want to look at it?
I mean, like I said before, I think the most difficult thing is just keeping things in perspective and facing sometimes criticism for decisions. I mean, I think most of the things that the city does, everyone loves, and I think most people are very happy living in Santa Clarita, but you're inevitably going to face some criticism on some decisions. And so I think it's challenging sometimes to see that and to hear that, but it's part of the job, and you just have to keep it in perspective and continue on with what you think is right.
Yeah, and how do you cope with the criticism that you face sometimes on social media or from the public?
Yeah, and and I shouldn't just say it's now, because Cameron's been serving for a long time, and there were some difficult decisions that he made when he was first on the city council, when there really was no social media, and the criticism came from different people in the community, or you would have letters to the editor, or other ways. It's always there. And I think just the main thing is to just know that you're making the right decision, to be able to stand by that decision, and for me to be able to support him and remember why he's making the decisions that he's making, and kind of remind him that, not everybody feels this way, that sometimes it's just a vocal minority, and you just have to shake it off and move forward and do what you think is right.
And how do you balance your career as a teacher and your role as a mother and your role as the First Lady of Santa Clarita Valley? How do you balance all those things in your life?
For me, I feel like I'm like most moms, just trying to juggle it all, right? Like I said, I'm fortunate that I get to work part-time. And so I feel like it's a great balance to be able to be at COC and teach and do something I love, but also be able to pick my kids up from school every day. So it's a really nice balance, and it's a challenge. I think everyone has that challenge, every parent today, not just moms. A lot of dads have those challenges too, of just trying to keep that work-life balance and keep everything in perspective. So I don't think it's necessarily unique, different than anybody else's, but like everyone, I just try to keep all the balls in the air and do the best that I can.
Yeah, definitely. And what guidance do you give your husband that you'd be willing to share with us?
Just not, to kind of keep things in perspective. I sort of keep saying that term, but I think that's the main thing, is just to be there to support him, and just to not let things get under your skin, and just to roll with it and be confident in your decisions.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us. We really
Sure.
appreciate it, and it was so great having you here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been my sit-down interview with Lena Smyth. To watch my interviews with the other First Ladies of the SCV, go to hometownstation.com. I'm Melissa Lampert, KHTS Features.